Hello, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls of all ages, and welcome to episode 3 of Dischead's Tales from the T-Pad Part 1. This is going to be an exciting episode because we've got so much stuff to jam into this podcast. It is absolutely ridiculous. It's literally bursting from the seams. I'm one of your co-hosts, Lee. To the left of me is the other co-host of this podcast, Ben. How you doing, sir?
I'm good.
Good times, mate. And then we've got the main man behind the podcast to the other left of me, which is Dan. How you doing, Dan?
Yeah, I'm good. Lee, yourself?
Yeah, really good. I'm really excited for this episode. And with me, teed up our introduction, I'm going to hand it over to you, sir. Let's get straight into the meat of this, mate.
Yeah, good. Hello, welcome to week 3 of Discheads. Yeah, start off with apologies for anybody that did tune in last week and have the poor sound quality. We are amateur podcasters, and we need to learn to hold them mics a bit closer.
I was
to our
apparently
face.
too relaxed.
Yeah. We were vibing, though. That's the thing. It was your first episode. We were all vibing.
Yeah. So week 3, we're going to be discussing that disc that shall not be named, the dreaded numbers and some of the language used in disc golf. Losing discs, we've got some stories about us losing some discs. Of course, we've got another beginner tip and disc of the week. But first of all, and I'm going to lead the conversation this week, I want to talk about inviting other people to come and play disc golf. So, for those who didn't tune into week 1, shame on you. But
Go back and listen.
Go back and listen. The way that
Just ring the bell. Shame.
Shame. Shame.
But the way I got into disc golf was me and the family went out. We played a couple of rounds. I really enjoyed it. There's other reasons. There's a longer-winded version of that on episode 1. But I then called up Ben. Me and Ben are best friends. Been good mates for a long, long time. Pushing 20 years now. I know, it's crazy, ain't it? So, you know, me and Ben had looked for some things to do. We've been bowling and bike riding and a few things, but we were looking for something a bit more permanent that we could do. And so I ran Ben and we discussed it, and he came along. We both enjoyed it. We started playing. We then invited another friend, another Dan. He came along, played. Was not expecting what disc golf is. He showed up in his skinny jeans and nice jacket. And Dan, he's a busy man. He really enjoyed it, but he's.
I think it'd still be coming if he could get the day to go.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
he cannot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We then invited Lee, and that's how this trio began.
100%.
This week, on our practice round around Bedworth, I invited my brother to come along. My brother's a simple man. He works, he looks after his family, he goes to sleep and repeats that day in, day out. He enjoys the simple things in life. He enjoys a cup of tea and a good episode of Britain's Got Talent, you know. So I didn't know if he'd take to it or not, but I thought, bring him along, see how he feels. And he's really enjoyed it, and he's joining us again this week. But yeah, just wanted to talk because I thought I'd start the discussion with me inviting people, because I think it's really important to spread the word of disc golf, hence why we're doing this podcast, because we want to be out there talking to amateurs and pros alike about amateur experiences and what it's like to get into the sport. But I do know, Lee, that you tell us quite a lot that you're reaching out to friends and chatting to friends. And
It's so funny because it's like people who know me know I'm a man of many nerd things and know me via like miniature gaming or card games via this YouTube channel, funny enough. And one of my good friends that I've met through Transformers, a trading card game, Matt in Canada, shout out to Matt. He listened to our first podcast, and he's listened to our podcast, and he's been like, what the heck is disc golf? He's kind of done a Matt thing and been watched, Pro Tours and found loads of other fun stuff. And his newly acquired wife, Susie, shout out to Susie, is going to buy him his first disc. She doesn't know what to buy though, so I'm like, mate, I'm tempted to go
Get him a destroyer.
Yeah, get him something with a really high speed.
That's what I'm thinking. I was literally laughing because like he's a big Transformers fan as well. I was like, and he saw the destroyer and was like, dude, that artwork's sick. And I was like, you will not be able to throw this like I can because I still can't throw it. So I need to talk to Susie about what it is.
Say, no one can throw a disc like you, can they?
No, I know. I hit trees. I'm a tree killer. But I feel like talking to it, I was thinking about a decent mid-range or just a starter set. So like, there's so many good starter sets out there. I would really rate the Discmania one. I'm really was tempted now that I've played more to get the Casterplast starter set.
In fact, I don't know if
really
you've
good.
looked at the starter sets recently, but on Ace Disc Golf, there's a premium Discmania one. It's in the sale. I think it's around 50 quid.
Oh shit!
And I wish it was available when I started because that'd be the one I'm buying right now.
Yeah, 100%. But yeah, like I said, like we were talking about people getting involved. I know a few of my other friends are really keen on doing it when the weather improves because they're not really big on like the whole cold thing.
It's Ben with Ace Disc Golf and his most popular apps.
Yeah, it is. It's pretty much it's a constant tab that's on for him right now. Here we go. We're going to find out. Is it the one with the
quid.
Is it Mentor, Astronaut, and all that stuff?
No, Maestro, Rockstar, Sensei. 39 quid.
So pretty much.
There is the distance one, Mentor.
Yeah, that's the abomination set if you can throw high speed, which we'll talk about later, obviously.
Mentor.
The Astronaut is sick. I love the artwork on that. But yeah, like it's just because we've put it out there.
Majesty, I think.
A lot of people have been like really interested by it and weirded out by it. And like when I've talked to them at work about it, I've got a lot of people going like, you're getting really excited about throwing a frisbee that a dog catches or whatever. And I'm like, yeah, but until you've thrown it, you won't understand. And I think we saw that a little bit with your brother over the weekend. Like, I think I can say when we were playing,
yeah, I know what you're gonna say, but it makes me laugh.
Like, I could tell the frustration at the beginning. Like, why isn't it working? But then as soon as we were teaching him little bits, trying out different discs, it was there. Like, you could see the basics of where we started, and you could tell, like, probably from the last 5 holes, he truly enjoyed it.
Once he went from them base discs to like me going, here, use this, and you going, here, use this.
It was just literally try these.
It did alter his game.
There was that, and we went to, I think we was on hole 14 maybe.
The hill. The hill hiss.
The top
hill.
of the hill.
The top
when
of the hill.
Like, you need to do this and not that. And he went, okay. And then he
just launched
threw
it.
And it went way past the hole.
Yeah.
Like,
and hole 14 has got what we call a cliff edge. It's not a cliff edge.
It's basically Pride Rock from Lion King. That's why I always go.
It's the top of a small hill.
Yeah.
It is.
But if you miss it,
you don't want to miss the basket.
Yeah.
But if he threw a disc, his first shot, his tee shot, and it went what?
It went
30 meters, maybe, if that. And I just went over to him, and I realised how I could explain to him what he was doing wrong. And I just said to him, look, if you were stood there throwing the frisbee to your child, then that's a good distance to be throwing it back and forth. But you're not throwing a frisbee to your child. You need to really launch it.
You need to imagine you are throwing that disc to kill the child.
Yeah.
Kung Lao the child.
That's what I said. I said, throw it like you're trying to kill somebody.
That is literally what you said.
That is what you said.
His next throw was the longest drive of the day.
Yep.
And just sailed straight past the basket and down the hill.
Gone.
It went. Yeah. It went and went.
Unfortunately, it cost him.
It did.
Straight after that, off hole 15, again, he outdrove us all.
Yeah, he did. Absolutely launched it.
We all spooned it.
Yeah.
It's true.
Off to the right, massively, and he went, I'm just going to throw it straight over there.
Yeah, because we didn't have the pressure of Fling coming up. We didn't have a tournament. We decided to do some
test discs.
Yeah, so...
To our detriment at some point.
And on that hole, all 3 of us decided, What if I threw it out of bounds? How does that affect my game?
What if I threw this really big numbers disc that I don't really know how to throw?
Yeah.
That seems like a great plan.
100%. 100%.
But anyway, back to topic. So, so we're reaching out to people. Another friend of ours, we've been chatting about it in our group chat. We don't bring it up too much because I think me, Ben and Lee established very quickly how much we were going to be talking about disc golf. And so we did a breakaway chat so we could just talk about disc golf in there and not irritate the other lads with, have you seen this disc? And, have you seen this course? Have you seen... Sorry, Ben's leaving doors open.
There we go. He's walking
I'm
around
not
casually.
centrally.
Like we were just basically it's for like talking about this, talking about what we're going to be doing in the week, and then how we've been doing throwing wise as well.
Yeah.
So like we can have some expectation going into like Sundays, what we always do, and have rounds.
However,
not-
on the main chat, I'd say it still gets mentioned.
It's now polluted over a little bit, hasn't it?
Yeah.
It's like a fungus. It's lingering a little bit. It's like mold, and it seems to go into our other chats.
Another one of our good friends who unfortunately moved down south to lovely Plymouth.
Love Plymouth.
And out of the blue, he's decided, do you know what? I'm going to give this a try as well.
Did he go with his missus?
No.
Or was it just?
No.
It was
He
just
went
him.
with...
He's part of the pirate band, isn't he?
Oh,
pirate band,
the
yeah.
pirate band. Yar.
Jolly Roger or
I think
something
it does.
like
That Jolly Roger does sound right.
If not, shout out Jolly Roger.
Jolly Roger,
I'm
great
sure
candy.
I'm sure Jolly Roger's a band.
Oh, I love it. So he went, and then got an absolute steal on some discs.
Yeah, we went on the old eBay.
Yeah,
Paid
man.
12 quid.
12 quid.
Unreal.
All I know is the Saints in that pack, and
It was more than 12 quid.
Yeah, the Saint. It was what? It was the Saint. I want to say the.
The Keystone and the Fuse, I think.
Yeah, the Keystone's a really good disc as well. A very good disc. It's a really good
I've
set.
only thrown the Saint and
Saint's a good disc. Like, it's really good. And it's funny because on the box it was like advanced pack. And I was like, so Ben's just gone straight from like skipping the tutorial in the beginner phase to just go, I'm advanced, I know what I'm doing. So I like that. Just like kind of following our footsteps. But it is a really good 3-starter set. Like, I really think the 3 discs in there show the differences of what you can do in disc golf.
yeah, no,
Like,
definitely.
really good. So,
So get people into disc golf. If you like it, tell us about it.
it's just addictive. Like, I'm so happy. Like, just starting this show, all of a sudden, and us playing and talking and mentioning it to people, it's just kind of like growing a little bit, which is quite nice.
If you're listening to us and it's interesting you about disc golf and you've not heard about it before, drop us a comment. Get in touch with one of us. Let us know.
Yeah, we'll figure something out. We need to do a Facebook group or something, or a page at some point. But like we said in episode 1, we're not really good at the socials. We're pretty bad. Like, I struggle to upload to YouTube and other things. So to be honest,
to
figuring
the YouTube.
just figuring that out was hilarious again.
So, let's move on.
Yes.
To the disc that shall not be named.
Yes, the
Make it sound
unofficial.
like a bad thing.
Well, no, it's the unofficial putter of the podcast, which I think is a great alliteration. I think it's great because we're not sponsored by them at all, but it's the unofficial putter of the podcast.
And I think as Middleton discovered this,
And this is purely because I went, I want to buy some new putters. And I went, putter. And then I picked this disc.
Is it because of the name?
No, it's because of the weird
Oh,
shape.
Because of the
I
shape.
was like,
Yeah.
that's weird. I'm going to buy one.
I think you should introduce it.
Okay.
Yes.
So, without further ado, the disc that is a weird shape that I suggested was the Banger GT Discraft.
Yes.
I love it. So we got it. I was like, I'm going to just start throwing that. Did I get it the week before the practice at Gillies? The couple of days before Gillies?
It arrived before.
Yeah, so before the practice at Gillies, because the first time I threw it was at Gillies.
Yeah.
Yeah, the first
I
time.
think it
that's
came
what I mean.
before the tournament.
The first time I threw it
Yeah.
was the practice week at Gillies, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm pretty positive it was.
I mean, you might have done some test rips with it down the park, but the first time you
I think
threw it at a
but
basket.
I wasn't putting it at a basket. I was just banging it.
Yeah, you were just sitting banging it.
Yeah, putting it in your bin.
Putting it in your bin.
Banging it.
Loving it, mate. Insert
It's got
clips.
too hotty.
Turn it up.
first.
Do you want me to? Shall I just casually? I'm going to do that. There we go. Our unofficial putter of the podcast. Banging it, banging it, banging it. The Banger GT. There we go. Sorted.
Edit of me throwing the banger to that.
Okay. You know when we officially start recording and doing challenges?
That's all I want.
There we go. We got that sorted.
No, so anyway,
So what numbers is it?
2301, top of my head.
I'm pretty positive you're right. Yeah, I know you're right. I think it's in my map. Here we go. Let's open up the good old U-disc. I'm pretty positive you are right with that one, mate.
Do I know my putters?
You went on a putting spree, so... Oh, I have not added it in my bag yet.
I've not added it in my bag either.
Oh, what's it? Shame.
We're all bad.
Unless it's not.
I
Did
have
I?
ace open, so...
Zero judge.
So I've got to add the river and the banger to my U-disc.
Yeah, I haven't added the... Yeah, I actually haven't added it to my bag because I got so excited because I got my basket. I just went out and threw it in the basket.
2301.
Sweet.
Nice.
So, like you said, Ben, it's got a very unique shape.
And I was like,
Yeah.
I bought it because I'd basically turned the Sensei into just like another disc to chuck
Yeah.
range. I was like, this is cool. I like throwing this far.
Yeah.
So I started doing that. And I was like, but I need some new putters. Then I bought the banger and some others and instantly started putting with a Sensei again for a bit.
Yeah.
I was going to say, because you went on a bit of a putting spree. You bought multiple putters and then you went back to
just putting with the Sensei because I got a new Sensei, didn't I?
Yeah, but then you gradually went
But then
and threw all of them a
bust
little bit.
the banger out
Yeah.
at Gillies
Yeah.
for a couple of shots. Drained some decent putts like that I was hitting normally. You hit a decent range with it on your first chuck, and you were like, "I'm getting me one of these."
Yeah, well, this is it. So we went to Gillies, and I said, "Yeah, give me a chuck of it," because I was very interested in the shape, and the shape is
Odd.
Oh yeah, it's obviously a disc
It's
shape.
unique.
It's just got a thumb ridge, which is different
It's
to
so
anything any
good.
of us has thrown so far.
Yeah.
But it's got a cool grip, so I think the best way of describing it is kind of like the Berg. It's kind of a unique shape, but it actually is really nice for beginners because
it's like a Berg with a thumb ridge.
Yeah, because it's got like you can literally put your thumb on the disc. Obviously, we've got an image of it now on YouTube. If you're listening to this on Podbean, I do apologise. But literally, there is a ridge where you can literally put your thumb, and it is extremely comfortable, and it's different to what you would have in normal
It's not as
disc.
deep as it looks in the pictures either.
Heck no,
It's
it isn't.
quite a big
No.
disc though.
Yeah, it is. It's a beast.
You compare it to a Sensei.
Yeah, it
It's
is
a
got
very
some.
big
It is.
shape.
It
I'm
is
sure
wide.
Compared to like the Pilot and the Baron, it's a very different. It's
Yeah.
very weird.
Yeah, it's a
It's
very
a-
different putter.
Yeah.
The
But
pro
yeah.
podcasters would refer to it as a beaded putter.
Oh look, but we're not podcasters. We're amateurs, so we
No,
just
but
call
I've
it a
heard-
weird disc.
I've heard that.
Have you? There we go. A
I've
beaded
heard
putter.
I've heard
Okay.
that somewhere.
I've probably heard of Foundation.
Or on the YouTubes.
Definitely.
Maybe. I've heard beaded putter be thrown
Beaded
around.
putter.
Beaded putter.
But yeah, so when I threw it to Gillies, I threw quite a distance put, and I mean, yes, okay, it's called a banger, but it's our terminology. I banged it in from a good distance. We're talking a good 10, 15 meters, and I threw it in like I was stood next to the basket.
Yeah,
it just went
dropped.
straight in.
Yeah.
And
then
a bit later, I repeated that a bit further away, and for me, that was me going, yeah, a banger needs to be in my bag.
yeah. And then my next time thinking this thing can go far was back at Bedworth, the put in practice game we made.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I got to the furthest marker that we'd set up, pinged the banger in,
Yeah.
and I was like, yep, okay.
Yeah.
Just affirm the banger.
It
being
wasn't
your
just
thing.
the fact that you got to the furthest marker, because that furthest marker was laid because we'd already laid
Some decent
markers.
Yeah.
And you got to the point where you was throwing both the banger and the sensei, but
They
since
were
we
just dropping in,
yeah,
weren't
since
they?
we were talking about
Yeah.
the banger, you was doing banger after banger after banger.
Yeah.
So then you just tossed the disc further back. That was, we wouldn't call it an impossible put because it wasn't impossible.
It was a
you
lot
didn't
further
make
back,
it.
though.
But yeah,
Yeah.
I never made one on the back puts. I never made one from that disc.
Because you didn't have a banger.
I didn't have a banger at the
No.
time. Yeah.
Or a sensei. There we go. We'll just keep throwing down under the bus for not owning really good putters.
There's nothing wrong with a Baron. It's
No,
a good putter.
it can't diss UK disc golf. Sorry, can't diss those guys.
But yeah, it's weird that you mentioned it. Size comparison to the Pilot. I've not actually put them side by side to look at how big they
the
are.
Pilot looks nearer to a Sensei.
In my notes about the Banger, I have written that the Banger is heavier than the Pilot. I don't actually know if that's true. I don't know the facts, but it feels in the hand heavier than the Pilot.
Because I'm pretty sure it's lighter than the Berg.
Yeah. The Berg has got some weight to it.
Yeah.
For me, it's a heavy putter. I can tell you that for a fact. It's heavier. I would say it's on par with my original Sensei for sure.
Basically, and then Bedworth this week.
Yeah.
Banger from just past the trees on hole 10, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, massive distance putt, but it wasn't just that one. Again, you made quite a lot of good putts with the Banger.
With the Banger from
fair.
Distance.
Because I didn't use the Sensei this week.
Yeah. There was
Again, because we were trying discs that we've not been using just because we're having a rest.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now Lee gets to talk about the Banger because
I love and hate the Banger. I love that it's our unofficial putter of the podcast. Insert that clip again.
Turn it up.
That was interesting.
Turn it up.
Love that. Like, that's now going to be a thing of turn it up, But I honestly think practicing this week, and it's only Wednesday when we record these, and we get them out every Saturday. That's the plan for our podcast stream. I've had 2 days of practicing, so I practiced on Monday and I practiced today, mainly putting today and driving on Monday. Putting with the Banger from distance, which is kind of crazy because it has the same glide as the Sensei. I couldn't hit long putts with a Banger. I think it might just be down to the new putter or whatever. It would go in now and then, but it wasn't as consistent as the Sensei from distance. From 10 meters, it was always straight in. Sensei missed. Banger, always in. I was like, okay, so closer distance, Banger. Distance putter, Sensei. That's how I'm going forward with it.
to be fair though, I was saying that before.
But you've been draining, since you got your, premium Sensei, your premium Senseis are very good. You're very good at distance with that. Would you say...
it's just altered my putting. I think it's
Yeah.
maybe because I can hit the Banger now.
Yeah, and I was going to say, how do you throw the Banger? Because I throw the Baron and the Pilot in a very putterish way. The Pilot's a very I only put close with the Pilot, so it's very gentle.
Very puttery. I'm quite aggressive.
I'm aggressive with the Banger. I throw it like I'd be throwing a frisbee in the garden, like a little flick of the wrist, and
Right.
But that's what I've been doing.
So spin put.
Yeah, I put
So you spin
I
put.
put some effort into it.
Yeah. So
Like-
it's a flick of the wrist kind of in a way.
But that's
Okay.
why it goes.
Right.
Because I seem to be like, if I don't do it, they're quite loopy and they drop in. Sometimes that works, but other times I'm a bit more
yeah, but see,
put some on it.
yeah. See, as I was saying, with the Pilot when I'm close range, it's very gentle. It's very much like, nice little toss into the chains. And
Yeah.
Yeah.
when I'm a bit further back and I'm using the Baron, I do put some into it, but not like I do the Banger.
I need
Right.
to remind myself that as much as I want to use my discs, like all my discs this week, go back to using ones that I use, I might keep using the Banger.
Yeah,
The Sensei might have to come out every now and again
For
so
far.
I don't forget about it.
Yeah.
But the Banger needs to be
Fair.
keep working on it.
yeah.
But yeah, that's our official, our unofficial putter of the podcast, the
Yeah,
Banger GT. It looks crazy. It's unofficial at the moment. Timestamp this. No, we love it. If you guys want to check it out,
Discraft, send us some bangers.
yeah, send us some bangers. It'll be awesome.
Yeah.
And I think it's just the name as well is hilarious because every time we've sunk one, we're like, huh, that was a banger. The pun is just genius.
So, remind me of those numbers again.
2301. Speed 2, glide 3, turn 0, fade 1.
Yep. So, which leads us nicely onto our next segment. Dreaded numbers and disc language. So, let's talk numbers. The first number is speed.
Higher the speed, further it goes.
False. Don't fall for that trap. So
Don't fall for that trap.
Speed ranges 1 to 14. The higher the speed, the faster the disc can cut through the air. That does not mean that you will throw a speed 13 disc and it will move at speed 13. You have to have the ability to throw it at a 13 speed for it to fly at a 13
My
speed.
understanding of it is, if you can throw a disc at that speed, it will fly the way it is made to fly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's how I understand it.
Yeah,
If not,
100%.
it will go, but not
It will go completely
exactly
what
how
it's.
it should do.
Yeah, it's not designed how
That's
it's
my
supposed to be.
understanding.
And the way I understand it as well is it works the opposite way round. So if yes, you can.
Throw it too fast.
Yeah, if you can, you can drive a putter, and Ben will prove that over and over again. He can throw the sensei as far as he can some of his medium range, long range discs, but it doesn't fly the way it's supposed to.
No.
You can get it to fly straight because you know how to fly it straight,
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
but it doesn't.
I can get it to
fly,
go where I
yeah,
want it to go.
It doesn't fly
Right.
the way it's supposed to do. So you get a I don't know. Trying to think of a low range disc for me, the Duchess, for example. If I absolutely rip that off the T-pad, it's not going to do what it's supposed to do.
Yeah. Because I think the thing is, you got to remember as well, when you like
Yeah.
you said, Dan, high speed, it's going to cut faster through the air and into the wind, less effort. But the problem is, it's best when it's throwing upwind. But like you say, if you don't know how to throw it, that's the downfall of high speed discs. But then slower speed discs take more power to throw, even though they're a lower power. Like, say, Sensei, for example, because we've already bought it with
You have to
Ben.
put more on it
Yeah,
to get
you
it
put
to go anywhere.
a little
I
bit more up
guess.
there. Obviously, you're going to be throwing it in an upwind probably, but it's easier to throw and it's way more accurate than a high-speed disc because it can go further downwind, but it's more accurate.
But also, I can't throw at a high speed, but I can throw a disc at a higher speed than it's supposed to be thrown.
Yeah.
But I can't throw at the high speeds.
Yeah.
So I feel like it's better to throw a lower speed disc at a higher speed than a high speed disc at a lower speed. I don't know. That's what I think.
Yeah, no. I agree with that.
Yeah.
I'm just saying that it does work both ways.
Yeah.
If you can throw a lower speed disc at a high speed, then rip it. It's gonna go. It's just not gonna fly the way it's intended to fly, the way it's been built to fly.
Yeah, 100%.
I suppose it's if you want to go back to like standard golf terminology, you can smash a ball with a putter. You can take a big swing, and if you hit that ball right, you are going to smash it some distance.
Yeah.
It doesn't make the putter a wood.
No, it does not. Not at all. I think it is, and also I think form plays a massive and makes a huge impact on speed, because you can literally have the perfect form, and sometimes you've seen it. You can literally go on YouTube now, if you listen to this. Hello, but literally you can go on and you'll see multiple channels do putter only rounds, and they're using the same form they use when they're throwing any other disc, but they're just throwing it with a little bit more power and it can get that distance. It's all down to your form. You can literally drive putters.
You don't see too many. I mean, I say too many. I can't think of one off the top of my head. Any driver only rounds.
No, mate, have you? Could you tell me you could try and put a destroyer or some of your?
I'd
big
have a
boy
go at
discs?
putting an 8.
You'd have a go, but we're insane. There's a reason why you need chunkier discs.
I think you and me are on opposite sides of the coin. I genuinely think you can use any disc for anything.
Yeah.
Okay.
I genuinely do. As much
Okay.
as the numbers are just a guideline. I think, especially speed,
Right.
turn and fade, they're gonna affect a disc a lot.
Okay.
Speed, I think, at this stage in my disc golfing ability, speed is almost irrelevant.
Yeah. And like
Yeah.
you say, they're a guideline. So speed is probably the most important number on a disc as far as establishing what a disc is.
Yes.
Yes.
So 0 to 4, putter.
Yes.
Yeah.
5 to 8, 9.
I'd say to 6.
I would say
6
for-
is a mid-range.
But then also,
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Then,
And then
7 to
6.
9.
Above
Not-
that,
6 to
6
8
up to 9
and
or
9
8
fairway
is
driver.
fairway
Yeah.
driver, and then beyond that, distance driver. That's
Yeah.
my understanding of it.
Yeah.
But obviously, also we throw in the hilarious curveball of throwing numbers. Every company has different numbers as well. So,
Yep.
like for example, my Raptor is a speed 9 disc, but that's a distance driver. That's
Yeah.
what caught my interest when I got it. Was like cool name, and it's probably the first
Yeah, but
distance driver I
think
can throw.
Speed 9 is distance.
Well, no, see,
'Cause
what's the Sting? The Sting's a 9, right?
7.
No, what's no? What you've got a speed 9?
No, the Zombies are
Saint.
7. The Saints are speed 9.
Spain's 9, but is that a distance driver though?
Yeah.
What speed is this thing? Oh no, Zombies are 5. Sting is a 7.
There you go.
Mate, I don't know how I know all these things.
The numbers guy. No,
Yeah, I don't
the
know
numbers
what they mean,
guy's
but I
Ben.
know what the numbers are.
Exactly.
Right.
I will just
think-
double check that.
It
Did
is
I-
interesting.
Did I have overread that you had done some homework, Lee, and you've got some history about the numbers?
Yeah, so originally the numbers were bought in by Innova because they were the first company to effectively make discs for disc golf. And then ever since other companies have basically used and made their own discs, etc., they've adopted that system, but it's also modified a little bit different. So when it comes to when you're looking at buying discs, now this is the biggest curveball I found out recently doing all my homework this week, is say you get a, I don't know, say, let's go with an Innova Mako 3. That's a 5500. So basically that disc is speed 5, glide 5, and it's going to be an arrow, and it's supposed to go straight. There are other discs that are similar to that, but the funniest thing is they'll have maybe a 0 or a -1 or whatever, and it will do exactly what the Mako does. But because this company has changed the numbers and it is different, it'll have the same flight path of the thing. So every company's numbers are different. So you shouldn't, now this is the funniest thing because we are trying to teach you about the numbers, you shouldn't take all the numbers by law how they are because every company's different. So if you if you basically sticked with one brand, then you'd know exactly what it is.
Yeah.
But all of us here love
not.
different disc companies,
fair.
and we don't want to be branded onto one. We want to try everything because when one person says this disc is supposed to be the best disc, I was like, cool. The Buzz and the Mako 3. So the Buzz is a Discraft. Well, the Buzz SS I have, and then the Mako 3. They're the top 2 mid-range discs. I own both of them because the Buzz is really reliable and everyone loves it.
There is one Discraft, one Innova.
One's Discraft, the Mako is Innova, and the Mako is dead straight. And they're the top 2 on the internet. They've said they're the best 2 to own.
Throws dead straight.
And it's insane. And it's so funny when you see it. Well, I threw it dead straight on at Gillies, and that's the only time I've thrown that straight. But I also think
killed someone.
I did nearly kill someone. But, it's interesting to take the numbers into effect because when you start looking at other companies, you're kind of like, well, this disc says it's a 7. I also have another disc 7 or something like that. And you throw it and they go a little bit further than the other. You're like,
In my opinion, of the discs I throw, the most noticeable number for me is fade.
Yeah, but we'll come to that.
yeah.
Yeah.
Fair.
But speed is sick.
Just to confirm, the Zombies are 6. We was right about the Sting being a 7, but the Zombies are 6, not a 5. I had another disc in my head and I mixed it up with. So yeah, speed in a nutshell, how fast you can throw a disc.
And that's also generated by your arm
Is
speed.
it how fast you should throw a disc?
How fast you should throw a
Should
disc.
throw
How
it.
fast you can throw a disc.
So if you decided to try and Hercules a putter, it might work for you, but it also might not work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's mad, this sport, isn't it?
Yeah.
We try and explain it, and then also there's so many curveballs.
Hey,
with
we
it.
still don't understand it.
I've learned this week about so many things, and I've changed it to how I throw certain discs, and they've completely gone the way they're supposed to go, and I'm like, holy crap! If I only took 5-10 minutes to realise that.
To just double point out that this is our understanding of the numbers.
Yeah,
We may be getting things wrong here. and
yeah,
if-
100%.
And if we are,
We may
please
have to
explain
revisit
to
this.
it.
It might have to go back.
We will revisit this when we understand it a bit
Oh,
more.
100%.
So number 2. So the second number on the disc is glide. How would you describe glide?
how much extra far it goes.
I absolutely
and-
love that.
And we will come to that soon about disc going extra far. But yeah, I think that's actually right.
100%.
Layman
So
terms,
yeah.
how much extra far it goes.
So, I think they call it an air bounce. Is that correct?
That's a.
And you-
yeah.
I call it a wobble.
Yeah, and you can almost see the disc. It starts to decline. It starts to drop, and then it will catch a bit of wind, and it will then
See ya.
pop back up and do another 10 meters, 20 meters. Depends on how the wind's blowing.
100%.
If
It's
they,
just how they catch a line,
Yeah.
isn't it? It's how much they keep. It's hard.
on a calm day, I interpret it as how much air pressure it can hold for longer.
That's 100% right. Yep. Yeah, so like to me, and also what Innova said, because I done my homework. This is my Bible now of understanding things. It's amazing. So basically, what they say is glide is all about the loft of the disc and how it maintains its flight.
Cool.
Again, new players are recommended discs with a higher glide to get distance or better distance. Discs
Increase
with
how extra far it goes.
effectively, so you can improve on that. And then it also says discs with less glide are more accurate in high winds. So if you think about what we were talking about with speed, if you throw a destroyer, which is speed 12, in a high wind situation, it will cut through all that wind and it will do what it does if you want to do it. If you said roller 7, well, yeah, it's a glide. I think it's like glide 5 or something, but it will just go. It will go where it's supposed to go. If we threw a river, for example, which is a speed 7, loft 7 in high winds, it might maintain the thing, but also because it's got a loft of 7, it's just going to keep going and going and going, kind of like the
bit like the
Energizer
same.
Bunny.
Like the same.
Like the same,
We'll
yeah.
get to that.
We'll get to that. We'll get to that. But yeah, it's interesting because I never really thought of that until we started looking at stuff like that. Like high glide numbers are recommended for beginner
And
players.
this is why I love the Berg.
And I've,
Berg
The Berg
does not
is great.
glide. It goes. You want to throw it here? Okay.
Oh, I
Go
think.
there then. Right.
Oh,
yeah, and that I think that's good to bring up actually, Ben, because I wasn't thinking about this when I was writing my notes for this discussion. That actually the other end of glide, the top end of glide, great. Throw a glide 6,
There are
throw a
negatives
glide
to
7.
big glide.
yeah.
But there are negatives, but it's great because you're getting more distance. But there's also positives to having
Low
no
glide.
glide.
Yes. 100%.
And I think you're the man to talk about that.
I am big on the low glide.
Yeah.
Yeah, because sometimes you want to approach the basket and be where you want to be. You don't want to be behind it. You want to be either up to it or before it. We've all overshot baskets.
But there seems to be one disc that doesn't overshot at all
Yeah,
because it's a lead weight.
it's just the low glide discs, i.e., the Berg. If you want it to be somewhere, it's like when you're playing with a bunker behind you.
Yeah.
Hole 7. If you overshoot hole 7 at Bedworth and you have to put back towards the bunker, you don't want to be using a high glide disc
No.
Yeah.
because you're going to land in the bunker
Hole 14 when you don't want to be going down the
going
hill.
off the cliff. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
100%.
But interestingly, because I like a firmer putt. We said that when we were talking about the
the banger, yeah.
And the pilot's actually a glide 5, which
Yeah, it
is
is.
quite high for a putter.
That is high.
I do not like putting at a distance with a pilot.
I was going to say that's probably why it's so inconsistent.
It was a gift from my daughter for gift from my daughter, should I say, for Christmas. It's got absolutely banging artwork on it.
It looks great.
It looks sick.
So I use it when I'm doing my nice gentle puts.
But
When I can practically reach over and put it
if
in
you
the
could
basket.
practice with it, you could utilise that glide.
But then I
potentially.
also think you could easily use it as an approach shot.
I
as
think
well.
after Quarry Park incident, no.
Wow.
There's the answer in my head is no. I was
no.
going to carry on just using it to place into the basket. It's a nice, pretty putter in my bag.
I can't remember what happened. We'll talk about that in
I'm guessing
the
in
next
the
section.
next
but I
section,
can't
Oh no,
remember.
I didn't lose it. It
No.
was, do you know when we played the short
Windy.
course? And
Windy
it was really
hair.
windy.
Remember
And
the nightmare hole where we couldn't stop laughing and I felt bad, but
When
it
you
was
were like,
literally
"I'm
that
over
was
here.
bad. I'm
I'm
over
over
there.
just the wind just took it everywhere.
The wind.
Just, All I
The
tried to
pilot
do-
wanted to fly, okay?
It was a 5-foot putt at one point.
It was.
And the
It was
wind
a and then it was a lot
took
more
it
than
15 foot away.
Although, to be honest, that was the first time we realised wind does affect our discs, which was the first thing. Because
That was the first time you realised you needed a Berg.
yeah. But yeah, because the Bergs are 1102 and it's a paperweight. I've been throwing it this week and it's unreal. It's a great approach disc. It's my approach disc if I'm ever going in, because I can take great. Looking at how I played this past Sunday, I need to throw the Berg for my approach shots to get it at least closer. Like my mid range, I'm fine with, but I can't lay up sometimes with them because I feel like I'll either outdrive or leave myself a lengthy putt.
Honestly,
The Berg is a
if you think
paperweight.
you're going to overshoot,
Berg.
use a low glide disc.
Yeah.
Yeah, and something heavy.
Yeah.
So good.
Putters.
So, speed,
Speed,
glide,
glide,
Turn.
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 Turn. One of those. Not really sure about turn, to be honest.
I learnt about turn this week.
Maybe Lee should talk
Yeah,
about turn.
I think Lee should lead this because
So I learnt a shed ton about turn this week with practicing. Like, it's insane. Like this blew my mind. And then as soon as I started throwing certain things and looking at numbers, the discs reacted. How funny enough, when we were looking at flight pass, which we're going to talk about as well later on, they started to actually fly like how they're supposed to. And I just went like, wow, that's a cheat code. I wish I knew this at the beginning. So
before you tell me what turn is,
yes,
so I don't think you can talk about turn without talking about fade.
yes,
I think they
Yeah.
are very closely linked.
very.
I want to tell you what my interpretation is before you.
Okay, I'm
correct
excited to
me.
hear this. No, I'm ready. You were bang on with glide, so
Yeah.
you know.
So
Here we go.
you throw the disc, and it has a flight path. It will bend one way, and then bend another way. For me, the turn is the way it bends initially, and spins round either to the right or to the left, and
Yep.
then it goes into the fade.
The fade, 100%. So, if we're going to talk about this from a right-handed perspective throw, because this is the perspective of it.
From what I can tell,
Yeah,
all discs are like the numbers are done from a right-handed backhand.
so yeah, a right-handed backhand. You are correct. So high-speed turn discs turn over or bank to the right during the beginning of their flight. So as soon as it starts flying, it starts going right. A disc with +1 turn, because obviously turn goes to +1 all the way to -5. I didn't even know there were +1 discs. That's impressive.
I didn't know it
So
was +1 disc. I didn't realise it went as far down.
it goes
as
to
-5.
-5 because of the tilt. That's
Yeah.
why. That
the
tilt.
Archer's a -4.
That's insane. My Raptor
Mate,
is a
you realise that?
no.
Yeah,
Fade
man.
is different. So anyway, so it goes
I think.
with a
Sure is.
+1 turn. It's more resistant to turning over, while a -5 rating will turn the most. So think of that through. And then disc rated. This what blew my mind. If you go from -3 to -5, these discs make amazing roller discs, and discs with less turn are more accurate in wind, and beginner discs can be thrown with more turn easier. Which I was literally like, so you want to have high glide and more turn for beginner discs. I literally was like, I was a little bit blown by this. I literally was like, and then I looked at the numbers for my disc, for the Discmania stuff, and I was like, for their number system, that makes a lot of sense. And it's really interesting.
Most of my discs have got -turn.
But the funniest thing is, so I
So
just,
does that make? I think that makes the Saint one of the best beginner discs then.
Yeah,
because
it must do.
Speed 9.
yeah.
That's about the speed we say to start throwing as a beginner.
Yeah, so it's like you want to go between, I think, for like your driving or mid ranges, we were saying just 4 to 6 is probably like the best. 4 to 9, sorry. 4 to 9 is probably like your range you want to start throwing.
Yeah. And then it's
Yeah.
got a glide of 6, so it's a high glide.
Yep.
A turn of -1 and a fade of 2.
Yeah, it's
I'm
a pretty
actually
good
going
disc.
all out there and saying the Saint is the best starter disc.
Can we say this? It is his best disc in his bag, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, it is his best damn in his bag. But yeah, so -3 to -2. So when we talk about rollers, now this is quite funny. So obviously when you throw a disc, you want it to fly. But sometimes there's just some courses where it's like that's going to go nowhere. So a roller is you throw the disc at such an angle that it will hit the ground and it will start rolling. So obviously when you throw the disc, it's going to start turning right. If you tilt your disc to the right and let it go, and then it lands and hits the ground at an angle, it will then just start rolling, to quote Limp Bizkit, and keep going and going and going. It will eventually finish itself.
Or keep on rolling.
Oh, just keep on rolling, yeah, you know. And I was amazed by that because I was like, how on earth can I get a decent roller disc? Now I'm not buying any more discs for a while now because I have a lot, but I am looking at the turn discs because I would like to have that disc, you know, that shot in my arsenal, because I've seen a lot of people, funny enough, when people are like, oh yeah, you're supposed to throw discs, but I've also seen people throw rollers and go like all the way to the basket. I'm just kind of like,
I could intentionally throw a good roller.
yeah, it would be a cool thing
There
to
was a
have in
period
your arsenal.
where I could throw a good roller, but it was definitely all by accident. Wish I could do it.
But yeah, so turn +1, -1. And then when you were saying about, because I think that basically goes into fade, which is exactly all but the same thing, guys, which is 0 to 5. So you can have a fade of 0 to a fade of 5. And it's low speed discs tend to hook left at the end of the flight. 0 means straight, and a 5 will hook hard at the end of the flight. High fade discs are usually used to spike or do skip shots. So you know when they do it and then
Yeah.
it skips.
That's what Hellfire does.
That's what the Hellfire does. Yeah.
So it does have a lot less time to do the fade
Yeah.
in comparison to the turn.
100%.
So although we're saying it goes back on itself,
Yeah.
it's got a lot less distance to go back on
No.
itself. It's not as big as the loop that you need
Yeah.
for a turn.
The turn
Yeah.
is more of like the travel of it, but then the fade is how it finishes. So,
Yeah.
for example, my
So
Raptor
because
is...
we can't throw massively far, we're seeing less turn and a lot more fade.
Yeah.
I think that's
Yeah.
why we're seeing it that way.
Yeah, and like you look
We
at the
see
fade
less
numbers.
turn,
Yeah.
but we're getting the fade because the disc will always fade.
Yeah.
But it won't necessarily hit the turn because we aren't getting it to go
The distances that
that it
we
needs
need.
to. Yeah.
But I think the fade as well is kind of interesting to understand with the turn as well, because for me, like for example, the Raptor, I know I can throw that, and I know for a fact when it fades, it's going to finish hard because it's a 3, but it's going to finish hard to the left. So if I throw it right, I know it's going to come back aggressive left, and it will land like a mortar shell. So I'm fine with that, and I
Yeah.
can understand that, and that's exactly how it's supposed to finish.
Also, just interestingly, as a left-handed player,
Oh, you are left-handed.
if you want to, this is for right-handed players, but as a left-handed player, I learnt this. If you want to alter the effects of the fade, if you forehand it, it will fade. It will do the opposite.
Yeah.
So it will crash to the right rather than to the left.
Yeah, so that's why we meant at the beginning when we were...
So
Yeah.
I throw a disc
Left-handed.
that's got
so
high
it's
fade, so
reversed
it crashes to the right.
Yeah.
But if you guys throw it,
and crash to the left.
it'll crash to the left.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's exactly
So-
what it means. So your
Yeah.
turn, if it turns right, it's going to turn left for you and then crash right. So it's basically
It's
It's
opposite.
the
But
opposite for left-handed players.
You can achieve it with a forehand.
Yeah, you can achieve that with a forehand, and then it's
So
opposite
either of
for
us.
us.
Can achieve, yeah, that's essentially what I'm
That's
trying to
it,
say.
yeah, yeah.
It is feasible to do the opposite
Yeah.
without having to get a disc. You can just use the set. You can use the disc with those numbers, throw it a different way, achieve the same angle that you need to.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. No, definitely. I do.
If that
agree.
makes sense.
Yeah.
it is 100%, and that also like kind of leads into like the bigger thing with numbers, which is I think a topic within itself, which we'll probably talk about, is like the types of plastic, the weights, how you throw your disc, like if it's an Anheuser and whatever, and all that stuff, and you know your grip and all that other stuff. And the funniest thing about all the numbers, which I always laugh at, is weather. Weather always affects the numbers,
Yeah.
no matter what it does.
And I think to sum it up, distance, how fast a disc should be thrown.
Yep.
Glide, how much wind help, how much
Yeah,
further
you'll
you'll
get a
get to
boost.
travel.
How much
Yeah.
extra far it'll go.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Turn and
extra
glide.
far.
You know,
Extra far.
as we said, turns one as you
Yeah,
the shape the shot takes as you throw it. Glide is the way it finishes.
Fade.
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 Yeah.
Yeah.
So turn's pretty much your flight
Turns the flight path.
fades
fades the
and
end,
fades how it
Yeah.
finishes.
regardless of how you throw it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And every disc company has a different set of numbers. Plastics make a difference, and
Weather
Yeah.
does.
and weather does.
A lot of things.
A
make
weather. A
difference.
weather's insane. So this is a random fact that I found out thanks to shout out to Foundation disc golf, they literally have said when it comes to weather and you throw it, if you're throwing hot discs, they will just fly. So in hot weather, if you get it right, it will fly. In cold weather, your disc, funny enough, wants to come down quicker. So that's probably what we're also seeing in this weather we're having currently, where we're like, I'm not getting a lot on that. The weather's probably playing a key point into that.
So if you live in Britain, where weather's very changeable,
Yeah.
should we call it?
Murky Midlands, mate. That's where we're based.
I mean, this Sunday it started out that I had to scrape my car, and by the time we finished playing our first round, sun was out and it was a bit warm.
And it was flying.
Yeah, but you essentially need a little guidebook with you at all times, because you would need to remember what their numbers mean for Discmania, Innova.
Yeah. If you
They're
go
that
all of them.
different.
They're not that different.
But I suppose they are different enough.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
But-
if you wanted to just look at it as actually like categorically knowing what you're doing, actually confidently saying this disc is going to fly like this, and that's without just knowing your bag, to actually talk about it in a confident way,
Yeah.
you would need a little guidebook next to you.
But then I think also as well, if you know how you throw your discs and you know the flight path of it as well, when you're teaching new players as well, you can say, I think for this shot you need to throw this because it's going to go to the left here, but then it's going to come back right, and that's going to be perfect to where you need to go. Or you need to go around this corner to the right, so we'll throw it left, and because it's got a fade of like a hilarious number, we know it's going to kick back to the right example and stuff like that. So it's just knowing your discs as well. So it's kind of interesting. Practice and just learn your disc is also a thing, I guess.
Well, actually, so I said at the start of the podcast this week that we were going to talk about numbers and language, but I think we spoke about numbers for a bit longer than I expected us to. So I think we're going to move
Maybe we
language
can bring
to
some of that into next week.
we're going to
100%,
move language
yeah.
to Tales of the T-Pad Part 2.
Yeah.
Because numbers, as Lee said, we're talking flight path. End of the day, no matter how you look at numbers, no matter what your understanding of it is, we are talking about the flight path, which beginner tip of this week is learn your disc flight path.
Yeah.
Now, I've got the ape, and you know we've said before the ape's a speed 13. Yeah, speed 13, glide 5, turn 0, fade 4. Now, it does not mean that that's how I throw it. I only throw the ape forehand. I
Yeah.
don't throw it backhand.
Yeah.
I have learned I don't throw it at speed 13 either. I think we can all agree that, because if I was throwing it at speed 13, it'd go much further than
You'd
it's
also
going.
probably be throwing it backhand.
Yeah.
Yeah, you would be.
Yeah.
You'd be using it.
But
Yeah.
I have learned the path that disc takes when I throw it at the speed that I throw it at.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that makes it a very useful disc in my tool bag.
This is what I was gonna go into on this discussion. I was gonna say, like, you can look at flight paths, but you can't necessarily replicate that. The only way you're gonna learn the flight path of the disc you're using is by using it, because you might not be, because you, like you said, you can't throw that disc as intended.
Yeah.
But you throw it to such a degree that you know exactly what it's going to do, and that's how you use it. So that is your ape's flight path.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
Yeah,
Like,
that makes sense.
Rather than, that's not the ape's flight path, that's how you get it to fly.
There's a tricky hole at Bedworth, hole 11.
Yep.
And there's only really two options, and both of them are a bit dicey, to be honest with you, to get past the, so we call it the first obstacle of that
Freaking
hole.
hate that hole.
Now, I know exactly what I've got to aim for with the ape to land it in
Where you need it.
the better of the two dicey routes.
Yep.
And I don't aim for the spot I land in, but I know where to aim to
You
land
aim
in
for
this
a
spot.
reference point,
Yeah.
and you land in a spot.
100%.
Yeah. But that's because, like you said, you know its path, you know where it's going to go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I really do think it's a really good beginner tip, because
Yeah, it
Yeah.
is.
100%.
you know, and like we did this week, we was using discs that we don't typically take out of our bag, and the reason that we're not typically taking them out of our bag is mainly because we've got so many discs, and it's not that, you know, some of these discs are new, some of these discs are not really being
They're
thrown.
either new discs or they're discs that we go, we've all started. We've all got. Well, you and me have got too many discs, Dan, probably at this level.
Yeah.
But
Lee's catching us up
Yeah.
rapidly.
but
Rocket fuel. Pardon my French. Jesus, yeah, it's true.
we've become like we've bought so many, but then we're like, these are the 3 best discs we've got. Let's just use these all the time.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I
And
feel
then
that's
we're
an
like-
issue.
Oh, but what about these that we've got?
Yeah.
And that's what we did this week, and it was good. Like it was nice.
And
Like,
the reason I was confused earlier with the speed of the zombie is because the zombie, the buzz, the duchess, and the sting all sit in a category in my bag
of similar roles.
of similar roles. But I know because I know the flight path of,
Yeah.
and I'm still learning the flight path of the sting. That still has a bit of a mind of
The
its
Sting
own
is
at
your
times.
mystery
That
disc,
is
isn't it?
in
That
terms
thing's
for-
insane.
I'm still not sure if I like this disc or not.
Yeah,
It's true.
Like,
yeah.
That's the nicest way of putting it, isn't it?
Yeah.
Really?
But the other 3 discs, the Sting Duchess, the Zombie Duchess, and the Buzz, they've all approached discs,
Yeah.
but they're all approaching different ways. Now, I have learned them flight paths, and it's through me learning them flight paths that I know which of them 3 to pull out of my bag. And admittedly, the Duchess very rarely comes out of my bag nowadays.
it's mainly the buzz, isn't it?
Buzz and
It
the
is.
Zombie. I do like the Zombie.
The zombie.
The Zombie I like if I know that the Buzz needs that extra bit. If I have to put a bit extra on the Buzz,
You go to the
You go zombie.
yeah.
Yeah.
Because the Buzz does have a tendency to start bending off if you put a bit too much on it.
Yep. AKA it's flight path, which
Yeah.
is what it does, which is annoyingly fun.
But learning your flight path,
So key.
Yeah, you just do it. And like Ben says, the only way you're going to learn a flight path of the disc
It's by chucking it.
is by throwing it.
But then also you should look at the flight path. What was the website? Marshall, is it Marshall's? Yeah, right. I wrote it down here. MarshallStreetDiscGolf.com. They have literally got every single disc. Thank you, Ben.
Yep.
They have every single company, every single disc. So if you're looking at your disc and you're looking into buying something, you can go on this website and it will tell you what company it's from, what speed it is, and whatever. But it will also show you your flight path and all the numbers, etc.
And
And
the
then
overstable, understable.
yeah, and it will
thing.
show you how it should fly. So then when you're throwing it, you know for a fact that you might not throw it exactly how it is, but right, those numbers are going to tell me that it's going to probably turn this way and then go this way. Okay, cool, I'll throw
It's going
it.
to give you a
It
rough
goes this.
idea.
It's going to give you a rough idea, yeah. And then you throw it how you throw it, and it can change. Because at some point, I would love to see you backhand that ape.
Yeah.
At some point.
Also-
Yeah. But we spoke last week about the Saint. When we spoke about it being my disc of the week last week.
Yeah.
And when I first threw it,
Yeah.
it turned at a right angle. When I got better and I started learning about wrist placement and body
Yeah.
movement, it took a different flight path. When I then added tip of the whip into my game,
Tip
it
of the
took a
whip.
different flight
Different
path.
flight path.
Almost to your detriment at some points.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
the early stages of you getting the Saint to do what it now does for you, you were like, I want it to do this.
Yeah.
And then it didn't do that because you were like, oh, if I just put more power on it, it's going to go as far and then kick this way.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
you used that technique and it just went straight.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It used to be a big hook
Yeah,
and shot.
that's how you used to play it. Yeah. And now it's mainly straight, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I rely on that big curve it has
You
on the
can
end,
use it for
but-
curve. You know, but it's in your locker now. You can go
Yeah.
back to throwing it with the curve if need be. But you also now know
I can just whip
that
it
you
out.
can
and
get it to go straight. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. That's true.
Yeah.
So, pretty good tip.
No.
Gonna lie
So
there.
that leads us on to the main focus. I say the main focus, but I feel like numbers is taking over our life.
Numbers was big.
Numbers is a
was it.
huge thing. Like it's a thing that's always evolving. I think for us.
But I still think we've got one or two stories in us.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So losing discs, and I'm. Whilst we're talking about numbers, so we mentioned this earlier. We're discussing the glide, and as we said, glide can a bit of wind, it just take you up
Gone.
and gone.
Yes.
So, I was already going to talk about Hole 9 anyway. I have now lost and retrieved 3 separate discs from Hole 9. This is Hole 9 at Bedworth.
Yeah.
To the left of Hole 9, and there's a
bank.
chasm.
Chasm. A bank to the railway track, right?
Yeah, it
Yeah.
is. It's literally like a drop-off point to the
Yeah.
railway track.
There is a easier, well, we say easier. There were points where you needed to be like a full-on jungle explorer to get through.
You
but
can get it.
yeah,
Like-
you can get down there. You know, as I say, I've retrieved 3 of my discs. First time I threw one over there was the ape. I looked for it for an hour and a half. Decided that I just wasn't going to look for it anymore. Went home. Well, went back to work because I was actually having a sneaky lunch break session. Went back to work. Finished my day. And then on the way home was like, I am going to go down again. I can't let it lie. It's got to be there somewhere. Went back, searched for another about half an hour, and I did find it in the end. This second disc I threw down there was... Actually, I didn't throw it down there. My son threw it down there, but straight down the chasm. And again, took me about... It didn't take us that long to find that time. It probably took us about 20 minutes. But still, we had a good look. So I was going to talk about them stories briefly anyway. But this Sunday at practice, you couldn't have wrote it. I was good. I'd say I still had a
You're
good
way off, weren't you?
70 to 80 metres left to
Was it?
cover.
But you hit it. This is the
Was it-
worst thing about it was a freaking good throw.
Was it your par shot?
No, my
No,
par
it was
shot
par
would have
three.
been...
It
This
was-
was your approach.
This was
my
3.
approach.
Your birdie shot.
I was looking
Like-
for par, and getting par on hole 9 is actually like a good day.
Yeah.
So I was looking for the par. I was playing the approach. I had about 70 metres left to cover, and threw
We
it.
were all pretty much on track, weren't we? We were
Yeah.
all pretty level with each other at this point.
Yeah.
You and me were, definitely.
Yeah, I
If
think
you-
Lee was as well. I think we
I was,
all
yeah. I
on
was a
there.
little bit further than you boys. I threw the Rockstar. That I outdrove Dan, and then I threw the Rockstar again because I was like, I'm gonna at some point turn this into my fairway driver. I
Yeah,
need
fair.
this for thing, and then got it into a point where I was not so sure what disc to throw, and then Dan said, I'm gonna throw the Saint, and I didn't want to say anything because I'm like, he throws the Saint really well. I thought, just because how well he throws that disc, it's
was
probably
too
going to get,
close.
it's
Yeah.
going to be fine. But also at the same time, it seemed like it was probably going to be a bit too close. But continue, Dan, with your
So-
story.
I threw the Saint, and it started to drop. It started to drop. Everything was looking fine. It was online, and then it air bounced, and the wind
It just
took
lifted
it
over.
Yeah.
and took it, and it just disappeared over the back fence. Now, none of us have actually thrown a disc over the back fence yet. So
No.
there's been never any need to climb over and find out what is beyond there.
No.
Well, as it turns out, it's a steeper chasm than the one to the left.
Yeah.
I genuinely thought you weren't going to get this back.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so like, everybody advised me not to climb down the chasm. It took us 5 minutes to spot it. It weren't that
Yeah.
far to
Yeah,
spot. To
it
be
wasn't
fair.
that far.
It
Took me
much
about
longer to
another
get down there.
Yeah, it took me another 5 minutes to build up the courage to slide my ass down this
He says
chasm.
courage. It was stupidity. He basically went, I'm not buying another one of those.
Yeah, but also I was
And went
talking.
down there.
I was also talking to his brother, and his brother was like, "He's not going to go get that." And I was like, "You don't know this. That's the Saint. That's his best disc in his bag. If it was me and that was a Rockstar, my ass will be down there. I don't care what anyone says."
But the upside of that story is when I finally got down there, I played it from where it laid,
Parked it. It was so good.
Yeah.
parked it, jumped up. My brother was questioning me why I did that, and straight away bent it round a tree, put it in the basket. And I was like,
Lush.
that's why I did that.
That's why you did it. It was sick. It was so good.
Fair.
Oh, yeah, that was a chasm and a half. Now we know what. Now we know the dangers of all
We
of
know
Hole
not
9.
to
I
throw
think.
down there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
100%.
So I've retrieved all my discs. I think Ben should go next.
I've lost a lot. I've lost 2 this week.
Oh yes, you did. You did. Oh, that's amazing.
I lost the beast practicing down the park because
that-
I just thought I'd picked it up and I didn't.
No, you always forget about the beast.
Was you
though.
throwing it in the dark?
Nah.
He just forgot to pick it up.
But it's because that cuts the Firebird came back to me
Yeah.
at Gillies.
Shout out to Phil.
Shout out to Phil. I
Which you thought you lost in your garage.
yeah. So I was like,
Oh.
yeah, I've got all my discs. Didn't I counted the number and I was like, yeah, that's the number I need. Didn't actually do like a physical. That's this disc. That's this disc.
Mm.
And then went home and then woke up for disc golf. Was washing my discs. I was like, where's the beast gone? And it was like really early. And then I went down the park and walking around. Nobody was there. I'm just walking, looking for a disc. That's gone. Then we went to disc golf. And a disc that I'd previously already thrown into this area. Hole 3, cricket nets.
Oh, so good.
The Genius. I've thrown it in there at least once before.
Mm-hmm.
And it's pretty banged up because of the last time I threw it in there. It's currently, to my knowledge, still sat on top of the current.
Well,
the cricket net.
See,
I
I
hope so.
thought you was going to talk about the first time that you threw
Yeah.
a disc on there.
Yeah,
because
but
Is it the same disc?
yeah, it's the same disc.
It's a recurring event then.
Yeah, but the first time I
it's
threw
a
it,
recurring event anyway. Like, he's threw 4 discs in there in total. We've just got 2 of them back.
That's true, actually. Yeah, that's true.
the first time I threw it on there, I don't actually know what happened because I was supposed to throw it in the opposite direction.
Yeah, but it's what happened afterwards. What happened between throwing it on there and retrieving it that is still a mystery.
It just got mauled by either the biggest dog on the planet or a lawnmower.
I still think it's the big ass beaver that we
Yeah,
encountered. Could
yeah,
be that beaver.
Could be the Bedworth beaver.
The Bedworth beaver, and that's an ongoing joke because we went to one. What was it? What hole is it? It's
Hole 4.
Hole 4. There was literally like a tree just destroyed, and we made the joke about that was a big
Was
ass
that you
beaver.
two?
Yeah, and we
Yeah.
literally that's
Yeah.
an ongoing thing. And then we found articles that beavers could actually be the size of people, and I was like, yeah,
Brilliant.
it's the Bedworth beaver.
Then there was the week where I threw the archer into the tennis court
Yep,
Yeah.
because I was like, I'm going to throw this, and I think I'm going to try and get it to curve.
it's my most liked story, by the way,
And
on
it just
Facebook
went.
ever.
It just went.
What, you filming a criminal activity?
It wasn't really a criminal activity. We could get in there. It was fine.
I'm just glad you filmed us repairing said criminal damage.
It was
It was
fine.
already damaged.
It
We
was
didn't
already
do
damaged.
damage.
No, it was just
Right.
basically hopping.
I just went through an already existing hole in a fence.
You know.
Yeah, true.
Like I didn't make said hole.
Yeah.
Um,
There's nothing valuable. It was a tennis court. Like,
Honestly.
there's nothing there except nets.
disc went fully straight.
It was nice.
Same as the Genius. To be fair, both times I've thrown discs into places, it's because they've gone too straight,
Yeah.
which shouldn't be a problem. But for me, apparently it is.
But that hole's your bane because
That hole literally.
Yeah.
every other shot you take bends to the right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You throw that shot and it bends to the left every single time. Because even the times it doesn't end up in the courts, it hits the fence.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I have definitely made more shots where it's curled left when it shouldn't do than it has done what it's supposed to and curled right and put me in a really good spot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's definitely.
And it always seems to be that hole that does it.
Yeah, no,
for
it's,
you.
Yeah.
no, it's always that one. Yeah. Because every other time it goes right. Every other shot.
Polar
So I
opposite.
can't think of any. So I've not physically lost any discs, but I can't think of any other disc golf related stuff because every other way you've lost a disc has been Ben related stuff. You know,
Yeah.
you
Just forgetting that I've
no,
threw
if I asked you where your keys were now, you probably didn't know.
There's somewhere.
But you know, you are ditzy, I suppose is the right word. You forget things.
I just don't think about things.
My
enough.
favourite
Yeah.
one is always his mini. You're always like, oh shit, I've lost my Berg. I've lost my mini. And I'm like, have you checked your bag? He's like, no, I'll be all right. And then you literally look for your bag and you're like, yeah, I found it.
It's in my bag.
It's in my bag.
But then
that's normally
it's
the
how
answer
it
to where
is.
Ben's lost things off.
Yeah.
When he lost his keys on Sunday, well, he thought he lost his
Oh, I
keys.
thought he
In the
lost his
car.
keys.
Yeah,
Yeah,
in the car.
In
The
the car.
first question I asked him was, are they in your bag? Like, have you checked your bag?
I love how I know where my bag setup is. So I'm like, I know my mini is in here. I know my putters are in there. I know my wallet's in there. It just gets scary when over time that zip opens up and I'm kind of like, oh shit, hopefully nothing's fallen out.
I just don't think about it.
I do know another one actually. I was thinking disc golf related, where you've lost a disc and we've had to retrieve it, or it's not been retrieved.
Is this the Beast?
This is the magic disc.
Oh, yeah, so the original Beast, I have replaced it because I do really like it. So the original Beast, before I lost it because I forgot I threw it, pinged it into a tree. We were pretty sure it went into a specific tree.
No, it did go into a specific tree. We watched it go into that tree.
And then we searched for, I'd say, half an hour.
Half hour easy.
Every single tree, bush around hole 6. Yeah.
Yeah, 6, yeah.
6.
And then I was just like, fuck it, and gave up. And it literally like respawned. It dropped out of the sky.
Literally the moment we gave up,
Behind
it just
me.
dropped out of the sky.
And landed at my feet.
I'm pretty positive that's a Grand Theft Auto respawn, right?
It
Literally,
was.
you find
It
your
was genuinely like,
Honestly, it felt like a real life respawn. Like we both just went, no, we give up. And I watched it. It like just kind of like, just dropped from out of nowhere, and Ben turned around and was like,
Was it in the tree? Do you think? Like, if you look back on it, do you think it stayed in the tree?
logically,
it wasn't the tree it went in.
yeah,
Oh.
logically,
We
it
saw
fell
it
out
go-
of a tree.
Right.
We
But-
saw it hit a specific tree.
Yeah.
Some distance from the tree it must have respawned from.
Interesting.
It was, yeah, probably the most
Weird.
Weird.
I mean,
Most weird.
I have lost a couple of discs. I may not get the genius back.
Yeah.
But you know,
So,
be it.
So be it.
yeah. So, ladies and gentlemen, without further ado,
My favourite story of them
Oh
all.
my
let me
gosh.
introduce to you our resident magician, Paul Daniels.
Right. Do you guys just want to say the song? Do you want to start with the song, or should we say?
Shazam.
Do you want me to tell the story and then you guys come up with the song? Because that's what it just brewed from there, didn't it?
He's
Really.
gonna make that disc
Disappear. Yeah. So these guys, we went to Quarry Park, and
Your first time at Quarry Park?
first time at Quarry Park. We went on the smaller course to begin with. That was incredible. Like, that was fun. We were coming literally off lunch, but also the buzz that you almost got an ace with your archer. So we were like literally living la vida loca. Like, we were like, yes, this is amazing. And
it was
then
super windy that day.
it was windy as balls. And then literally Dan and Ben started telling me about how dangerous some of these holes are. And one of the baskets is on a vertical hill. And I had a shot where multiple times the disc decided to roll downstairs towards a lake, or should we say river, or whatever, a canal, whatever you want to call
It's
it.
the first.
It's a river. It's
a
actually
river.
a river.
It's a river.
It's the
It's,
first hole where you're throwing towards the
You're
river.
throwing
isn't it?
towards
the
a river,
River
which is
Raven.
yeah. It's a river.
I
It's
think it might
it's
be
scary.
hole 7, but I can't
It-
confirm
I'm pretty sure it's hole 7 as
because
well.
the hole along the river is 8. But
Yeah.
I can't confirm or deny that.
Yeah.
But it's worrying because it's water, and I've played golf before, and I've lost many a balls to water hazards and stuff like that. So I was like, oh, okay, this isn't too bad. Then we had the hole after that. You have to drive, like, make sure you drive left and not hook it right, because then you could still end up in the lake. And I was like, all right, whatever, that's fine. And we got there, that's great. Then there is a hole that is literally running right by it. And I was like, I'm going to throw the magician on this, just because I'm terrified that I would lose a disc. And I did not want to lose my rock star.
You also didn't want to lose the magician.
I did not want to lose my magician either. Actually, I just didn't want to lose any
Unfortunately,
discs.
He's losing his magician.
So I get up to the tee pad. I'm living La Vida Loca. I'm like, I'm feeling good. This is great. The magician leaves my hand perfectly, and then it starts to roll. I'm like, oh great, it's getting more distance. That's great.
It hit a really good line.
It hit an amazing line.
And then did one of those like extreme left rolls.
Yeah. And the roll started off and it was going straight and I was like, this is perfect.
But then it-
And then it just went left and I was like, no. And then we just see it go in the river. And my heart sank a little bit.
The thing is, it went like right near the edge, and we were like, "You'll definitely be able to see it. It's bright pink."
It's bright pink.
No,
I
it's
get over to it. That lake is literally, or river should we say, is like tar. The colour is black.
Well,
and
you dip the river stick into it, so only you know how deep it is.
It's deep. Like I was like, okay, yeah, it can't be that deep, right? And I was like, I put it in where it landed, and I was like, okay, I might be able to scrape it up. Okay, there's nothing. And then I just moved it out like literally half a foot and just went, how deep is it? And it went, and it just did, and I was like, yeah, if I want that magician, I need scuba gear. Screw that. I've lost a disc.
I remember I threw it. It cut way out over the river. I did this last time we went to Quarry Park, didn't I?
Yeah, well, your turn takes you over the river.
It cuts way out over the river, and then I just have to rely on God that it cuts back in.
Because of your left-handedness.
And it did.
Yeah.
But I think I was less worried the second time I played that hole than I was the first time.
The first time when it left your hand and there's like started flying over the river, both of us watched it like, that's gone.
So yeah, I lost the magician at Quarry Park, but it got replaced with a cax, which I talked about last week. And the funniest thing about that was, as soon as I picked up that cax and we went for our second round, I threw it better than I did the magician. So I immediately went like, "This is a cheat code."
That's your only permanent loss, though, isn't it?
That's my ever permanent loss.
So we call Lee pulled annuals because he can make a disc disappear. Typically,
in a bush,
he will find it again, but they
do properly disappear.
Every bush, every wood pile, and
my favourite one
at Gillies, you bounced that disc into the wood pile and it was gone.
It was just it's Shazammed. It was like the Rockstar was a predator. It literally, I couldn't even see it, and someone was like, "It's right here," and I was like, "What do you mean?" And it was buried in there like freaking Arnold Schwarzenegger when he hides from the predator for the first time. Like it's like hidden. But yeah, my disc seemed to find every nook and cranny. That literally it lands in trees which literally have slots. Don't know why they always want to land in slots, but they do. I think my favourite one was on one of the holes, and it literally landed in what looked like a grave site in Bedworth. I was like, where the hell's that gone? And I went in and I was like, this is landed probably where badgers or something, some animals live under here. So I'm pretty positive if I wanted to go further in, I would see a family and they'd be pretty pissed off. But yeah, I just seem to have a tendency of finding trees.
It's not like not like you throw it out of say out of bounds. You wouldn't say out of bounds, but off fairway into the rough.
Yeah.
Me and Ben probably throw it into the rough just as much as you, but when we do it, we seem to still at least land on flat ground.
Yeah, I don't.
Oh, there it is.
There it is.
We're gonna hide this.
Yeah. My discs either want to hide from me or want to murder people. I don't know what it is. Like it's just weird. And also, I even call shots and they happen. Like you say about 2, where you've lost your genius. I hate hole 2 on Bedworth just because I know there's a tree right in the middle of my flight path of my rock
that's
store.
One thing I don't have to worry about.
Yeah, but the problem is with mine.
Into that tree 3 foot in front of the tee pad.
And I know exactly my flight path of my disc, and I do it every week. I've only done it once, and how I did it was I literally didn't run on the tee path. I ran up it and threw it the long way round it, and it almost landed in the bunker. And I was like, that's where I want to aim anyway. But I realised you need to use a tee pad.
Tree
square on every time.
I think you've hit that tree definitely more times than you've not hit that tree.
Yeah. Oh yeah, 100%. 100%. Me and that tree have a nemesis. Like if Bedworth Council ever want to get rid of a tree, I've nominated one. I would love it. And the worst thing is, it's not even got foliage on it yet, mate. It's only going to get worse with time.
I mean, I just like them to get rid of the tree that's already fallen over, to be honest with you, Lee.
Yeah, that as well. Yeah, that happened this week. I threw a perfect disc, and if that tree wasn't there, son of a... Yeah, I just seem to find,
Again, you jammed it into a tree that was on the ground.
Yeah, but literally, I was so pissed because I was like, I've cleared that, and it literally was a little branch on the thing and just went... And I went, no, come on, I missed that tree. And then I literally laughed because Rich and me walked up because Rich was just beyond it a little bit. And I literally was like going like, if this tree wasn't here, that's where you're supposed to land on your first, after your tee pad.
I've now started shooting the other side of the fallen tree.
Yeah, I think we should just need to go there with a saw and just saw it down. It is. We can murder people on the bike track.
Yeah.
It is a much better line, to be honest.
Yeah, speaking of murdering people, if you're going to go into a disc golf course and it's a public park, if you want to go and sit on a disc golf course and enjoy some cold British Sundays, try not to sit under a hill.
Oh, sugar honey iced tea. Yeah. Oh, yeah. That also happened to me as well.
Don't hide yourself below a hill, under a tree, and cover yourself in sticks
Yeah.
Yeah, because
next to a basket and expect not to have discs
You
come rollicking through your
did
shelter.
did your disc get as close as mine did?
Yeah, mine went in the shelter.
Yours
Ben's
went in the
hit
shelter. Mine hit. I had to yell 4 because I knew it was going to hit the tree,
I
and we
blew a
heard
hole.
it. And it's the raptor as well. The raptor kills trees. I've got physical
I
evidence. of
blew a
this.
hole in the shelter.
Yeah,
It
I was.
blasted through.
I felt really bad, but then also
think
I laughed
probably
at the same
did hit
time.
One of those
Yeah.
girls.
Probably.
just build a den where it's visible.
Yeah, but it was kind of mad because we made the joke, didn't we, Stan? We were like, oh, there's people down there. Ben, you generally didn't know people are in there. That was the
thought
funniest
someone
thing about it.
I thought someone had just left some sticks up against a tree, and I was like, well, that's where I need to throw this disc.
I literally
didn't-
laughed so hard.
Well,
when
I'm
it
nearly at the same girls on the Wednesday though, because
Did you?
yeah, because that dip down there,
You
It's
can't
It's
see
blind.
down
You
there.
can't see it.
down there, and it's
No.
right next to a basket.
It's so bad.
Like,
So yeah, if you listen to this,
Move.
yeah, but I think, yeah, I think it might have been a topic for another week. But you know, we always show the courtesy to the dog walkers, to the people using the park, to the bike riders.
You mean the people we can see?
Yeah, the people we can see,
Yeah,
not the people we
will
can't
always
see.
wait. We never rush anybody. And to be honest, and you know, I'm not going to call anyone out on that crap, but you know, we have come across some crap where you just kind of stood there thinking, look, why have you chose right there to stop it? If you chose 5 foot further away, it's clearly not in our line. But we will stand patiently. We'll have a chat amongst ourselves, and we wait for people.
We respect
to,
the fact it's a public park.
Yeah.
Yeah, I broke that rule when we were leading up to Gillies, and I had that practice round on Saturday. Some kids were playing on hole 1 from the bunker. It just beyond the bunker and the basket, and I was near the tee pad, and I was like, they're right in my flight path. And I literally was like, guys, I'm going to throw it that way. And I gave them a clear warning, and they just didn't listen. So I was like, okay, screw this. I'm going to buzz it. And so as soon as I let it go, I yelled 4. And I've never seen teenagers hit the floor as quickly as possible. Like literally, I was well impressed. And the best thing was, it was nowhere near him. It was in between both of them perfectly, and it landed. And I literally parked it and put it in for a putt. But they literally looked at me and gave me the most evilest thing. And I was like, guys, I warned you, and I told you. And also, there's like 4 more people. I literally said to them, there's 4 more people behind me as well, and they're going to be throwing this way, guys. So just be aware. They're probably going to throw it more harder than I am as well. So you're going to just have to avoid mortar
I
shells.
think that's it. I think courtesy needs to go both ways, really.
But
Yeah,
if we can't
100%.
see you,
If we can't see you, then it's actually your problem.
then
There's something out there
Apologies.
waiting for us, and it ain't no man. Yeah.
So, last subject.
Yes.
Disc of the week.
Disc of the week. Yeah.
Well, me and you were sharing a disc this week, Lee.
Yeah, we are. It's a very good disc.
Yeah, been mentioned a few times this week. I'm sure if we listen back to weeks 1 and 2, we probably got to mention a few times then as well. The Buzz SS.
To be precise. There's so many different buzzes. I didn't realise this.
Yeah. So I brought. Why did I buy the Buzz? No, I brought the Buzz. I was watching a lot of YouTube videos. I wanted a good approach disc. I was using the Duchess at the time, so after buying the Ape, the first pack I brought was the UK Disc Golf Pack, which had the Baron, the Duchess, and the Duke. No, Count.
AKS
Disc.
Which, to be fair, the Count was going to be Disc of the Week this week before we spoke about the Buzz. So
Yeah, sorry about that.
So I think you'll hear about the Count next week.
Was it?
Skrillex.
Yeah, so I was going to talk about it because even though it probably
It's
wasn't
insane.
my Disc of the Week as far as what I've been throwing,
It's what you want to discuss.
it's what I wanted to discuss.
Okay.
But anyway,
Fair. I was
so
going to say, that is not.
what you would have thought.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Love Skrillex.
So in that pack was the Duchess, and the Buzz and the Duchess have got exactly the same numbers. At the time, I was throwing the Duchess as my approach disc, and I wanted something new. I wanted a new disc. I decided that I wanted to get a new approach disc, and I started watching loads of YouTube, and the old YouTube was recommending the Buzz and the Berg.
Yeah.
Did you buy the Berg the same week I brought the Buzz?
Oh, that's a
Or
question.
maybe the week before?
Maybe the week before.
Yeah.
Ah.
And as Ben had brought a Berg, I thought, you know what, I'm getting a Buzz. I could throw Ben's Berg. I can learn if I like it. If I do like it, I'll get one in the future. Ben can throw my Buzz and vice versa. I instantly found out that despite the fact that the Duchess and the Buzz are the same numbers, they are far, far from the same disc.
Oh yeah, 100%.
And you know, this is what we mentioned earlier about different plastics affecting that, and different numbers being, you know, different companies using numbers differently, and they are vastly, vastly different discs. What I love about the Buzz is it flies straight.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of discs that I've seen YouTube videos on, and we mentioned earlier I can throw the Saint straight. Now, when we say I can throw the Saint straight, what we mean by that is that it leaves my hand on a T-pad, it flies out to the right, bends round to the left, and then fades back to the right, and ends up in a straight line from where I threw it.
Yeah.
It doesn't actually fly
Dead
in a
straight.
straight line. The Buzz, on the other hand, does.
Yeah.
And if I try, as you said earlier, if I try and put too much into it, if I've thrown it further than I should really be trying to throw the Buzz, it can bend off toward the end. But if I'm throwing it as an approach disc, and I tend to get the Buzz out of my bag anywhere from, say, 100 foot,
Yeah.
100 to 150 feet, I'll probably throw the Buzz.
Yeah, I'd say that.
And as we say, it's just nice and straight, and it's just that nice, guaranteed approach.
Yeah. It's number one on like the internet for a reason. It's really good. Like I got it because when we went to Gillies, I wanted another mid range, and I saw you throwing the Buzz, and then I immediately had a couple of throws, and I immediately went to the store and just bought one immediately, and was like, yep, there we go.
Yeah, I think you threw it like twice, three times.
Yeah, and it just was straight as an
and the
arrow.
last two holes on Gillies are both straights.
Dead straight.
So you enjoyed it. And I think we walked across the car park, and I didn't even know you was going to the shop. And as I went to the toilet, and as I walked out of the toilet, I said, you shout, "It's the Buzz SS you've got, ain't it, Dan?" And I was like, "Yeah," and then you just waved one at me.
Yeah, it's really good. It's a great utility disc. I can definitely say at the tournament it saved my bacon God knows how many times. It was really, really useful. I've started to learn forehand with it as well, because it is a very good safety shot forehand as well. Yeah, it's just really good. I would highly, highly recommend the Buzz. Like it's up there with the Mako 3 for me as well. Like both of them do very similar things. Like obviously with the Buzz it goes a little bit wide, then comes back. The Mako is literally a lawn dart. It just goes straight and it just keeps going and going and going. But the Buzz is a really good utility because you can throw it dead straight, like Dan says, in the flight path, or you can, if you put more of a hyzer or an anhyzer or however you want to throw it, or whatever the terminology is, which I still don't understand. It is a really good disc. It's just super good. I really, really like it. And yeah, it will probably be my recommendation for anyone who gets a starter pack and is looking for another mid-range. I would immediately say go get a Buzz SS. There's other Buzzes and stuff like that, which they all have different flight paths and a few similar, different numbers because they have different like things. But yeah, the Buzz SS is solid.
The numbers for the Buzz are speed 5, glide 4, turn -2, and fade 1. Yeah, as I say, it fits quite nicely. Like, most disc golfers, even beginners, be able to throw a speed 5. That's a fairly low speed. Glide is not over the top. As we say, that's why I pulled a zombie out for that bit of it. You know, if it's a bit further than that 150, I'll pull the zombie out because I could give it a bit more because the zombies. The zombies only got a glide 4 as well, but that's a speed 6.
But it's speed 6, so it's got a bit more oomph. Like that's why I got the Buzz, because my mid range was the Maestro, and that's a speed 4. But I wanted someone with a bit more beef.
Yeah.
So the Buzz just fit that, and it has a little bit of a different flight like numbers to the Maestro as well. And the Maestro is a different tool in my bag compared to what the Buzz is.
Yeah.
So
It's not identical to the Duchess. I thought it was, but fade's different.
Okay.
But so that don't really mean anything.
But no, yeah, I would highly recommend everyone owning a Buzz SS. Like,
Yeah.
if it's rated number 1 on the internet, and also pretty much every pro that represents Discraft owns one, and then every other multiple podcasts, YouTubers, disc golfers somehow pack a Buzz, it must be a good disc.
There's other discs that I've heard YouTubers go on about and like pros use that I've thrown. That
Yeah.
you two own,
Yeah.
and I'm not overly keen.
Yeah.
The Buzz is the one where, and
Yeah.
I can also say that about the Berg as well, but the Buzz is the one where I'd actually agree with everything.
Yeah.
It's not just people jumping on some kind of cult. It's,
It is legit.
yeah, it's a good disc.
It's probably, it sounds really controversial to say because Discraft have a really load of good discs, but that's probably their well-known disc.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's probably what they're well known for, like
Yeah.
guaranteed. So yeah,
Although most of my bag's Discraft, so
I know you're representing our unofficial sponsor. Well, I'll put us.
yeah, please sponsor me. Discraft.
So, moving on then, Buzz SS to Ben, your lovely disc of the week. What are you going to talk about this week, mate?
So it pains me to say it because I was bashing it last week. The passion. Turns out it was me. It does do good stuff. If you throw it the right way, then it does what it's supposed to.
Yeah,
It was going straight, going as far as I needed it to.
mate, I'm telling you now. I told you it was a disc. If Paige Pierce says it's a good disc,
Then it's probably a good
it's
disc.
probably a bloody good disc because she's one of the best women in the world who plays disc golf.
I haven't got much more to say about it. Like, it was going straight, it was going far, it was setting me up for what I needed it to do.
You look confident for having it.
Yeah, 100%. I would say that.
Yeah, I mean,
But you went out and threw.
Practice.
Yeah, you threw
Yeah.
it a bit leading up to.
I learned
the
its
week.
flight path.
Oh,
some
there you
might
go.
say, you know.
Mate,
Tip
look
of
at
the
this.
week.
Tip of the week.
No, but it's exactly that. Yeah, you learnt its flight path by practicing,
how
by
to
throwing
use
it
it.
in the park. You learnt how to use it, and then when we got to Bedworth, like the first couple of throws, you looked confident, but you were still throwing like I'd say you typically throw. But then once you nailed them first couple of drives with a passion, because you didn't throw, because you clearly didn't throw the passion on hole 3 because you lost your
Yeah. Genius.
genius.
Don't know why I decided
Um,
to throw it, but if I'd have thrown the passion, I'd have been okay. Because
Yeah.
I did throw the passion the second time.
Yeah,
I was okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you actually made. I mean, you didn't make par, did you? But you caught back up considering.
Well, I
Yeah.
would have got a bogey, but I went
Yeah.
over by all those, by the extra
because
shots.
of the
didn't I?
OB.
Yeah.
But yeah, you made yourself back up. But yeah, but once you started making them good shots with a passion, as the round went on, I noticed that you just appeared more confident in your throw, not just throwing the passion. When you were throwing your other disc, you appeared more confident because the passion almost gave you that confidence.
Yeah, fair.
Yeah. I honestly think it's like you have two cheat code like discs in your baths now. You have the Archer and the Passion because you throw both of them really well,
Yeah.
and that's your like solid mid range. So feel sorry for all the other discs in your bag now that basically are going to be shunned, but not really because we're going to be throwing random stuff this week, which is going to be fun. Trying to figure out life, yay! But yeah, I feel like the Passion. Yeah, like I was like, holy crap, what the heck was that? And you're just like, Passion, and then you were parking a lot as
Yeah,
well.
it was good.
You were parking
And the
a lot. Your
artwork on
approach.
your passion is
It's a snazzy
really,
disc, isn't it?
really nice.
It
It looks
is.
cool. It's good plastic.
It's like a cut orange, isn't it? Like,
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like it's a tie dye that looks like an orange that was cut. It's sick.
So another week in the books, boys.
Yeah.
Job done.
Episode
Long one.
3. It was. You know, this has probably been the longest one, but it's probably been the more information in depth we've gone in.
We could call it informative, but we might have got everything wrong. But yeah, no, please join us for next week. So week 4, we're going to talk about birdies and par savers. Some good shots that we've taken, some things to celebrate. We're going to talk about how we learnt technique and how we understand technique. Of course, we'll have our beginner tip and disc of the week, but we'll also try and link in the language of disc golf, hyzers, anahizers, and air bounces and stuff like that, and actually tell you what we understand as all this complicated language.
Yeah, I have no idea what they are. Like, let's just be honest. I've not a clue. When they say I'm going to throw out an anhyzer, I'm like, what does that mean?
Yeah.
Like, I don't know.
I think I've got an idea, but join us for next week to find out what that idea is.